Thank you guys for tuning in to a special impromptu episode of State of the Jungle presented by First Star Logistics as I react to Myles Murphy being drafted by the Cincinnati Bengals with the 28th overall pick. Excited to hear from all of you. I want to hear if you're angry. I want to hear if you're happy. I want to hear if you're sad. I want to hear it all. So I rushed to the studio to talk with you guys as we always do on our one-on-one chats. Nothing better than talking with you guys. As always, if you guys can do us a huge favor, give this video a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Tomorrow's a big day, day 2 of the NFL draft, and it's the inaugural First Star Logistics annual Bengals draft party taking place at the Handlebar Great American Ballpark. So I'm pretty pumped up about that. But enough about that. We're going to be talking about Myles Murphy being a Cincinnati Bengals. First, I'll start off by saying this. I think it's a little bit of an overreaction right now. I think people are upset because Michael Mayer was on the board. Joey Porter Jr. was on the board, right? And I certainly understand why people are infuriated, but I'm not going to sit up here and act like Myles Murphy wasn't a good pick. This is a guy that was projected to be a top 15 pick at points. And for some reason, he slid, he kept sliding, kept sliding. We talked about it on State of the Jungle several times when I guess word gets around the NFL that players are going to be sliding and things of that nature. Um, teams start to bring them in for a visit. Because at first I thought it was a waste of a visit for the Bengals to bring in a guy like Myles Murphy because I thought he would be long gone. Well, guess what? Myles Murphy was here, 28th overall pick, and I said, you know what? If he's there, the Bengals are going to draft him right now. My people might be asking why, why not Nolan Smith? Nolan Smith is just, I would say, I'm not going to give the organization a pass or the team a pass or the coaching staff a pass. I'm going to say I think Myles Murphy fits the scheme a little better than Nolan Smith because he is a stand-up edge rusher compared to Myles Murphy, who can really put his hand in the ground. He can move inside, move outside. I think he is has another level to unlock from a pass rushing standpoint. But be honest with you, man, I I feel for you guys. I know exactly where you guys are coming from. I'm right there with you. Michael Mayer was sitting you right there. The tight end has been a revolving door the last couple of years, right? You had the opportunity to grab a tight end that made sense. So yeah, I fully understand that. And Reggie, to answer your question, and Danny, I want you to get some of these questions. I would say that Dawson Knox is probably more similar to the Michael Mayer, right? You asked why the Bills traded up for Dalton Kincaid instead of Michael Mayer. I feel like Dawson Knox can block, he can receive, but you know, Dalton Kincaid gives the Bills another element in the passing game, right? Outside of just Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis showing up every now and then. But guess what? I want to keep it on Myles Murphy. So Daniel, let's get to some of these questions. I want to talk to the people here.
Yeah, we had somebody who said this pick screams stopping 15, stopping Patrick Mahomes. What do you have to say about the people who are saying that this pick is specifically, to stop Patrick Mahomes?
I don't think it was to stop Patrick Mahomes. I think we needed more juice at the pass rush. Listen, I love Sam Hubbard. I like Joseph Asai, but Trey Hendrickson was fighting for his life on that edge by himself, man. Getting double teamed, getting chipped, and things of that nature. You need a guy that can actually add more juice to the pass rush, and give these guys a break, man. If we lost Trey Hendrickson, our pass rush will go to hell. The last couple of seasons, Joseph Tsai has been injured too, so you can't count on that. So I understand why Myles Murphy was the pick here, and it makes a lot of sense. It may not seem like it right now, guys, especially with a guy like, um, especially when you look at a guy like Michael Mayer sitting on the board, or even Joey Porter Jr. sitting on the board. But this was a good pick by the Cincinnati Bengals from a defense. They needed to add juice to the pass rush. To be honest with you, if we had more juice in the pass rush in the AFC Championship game, this might be different.
So this is a two-part question, but I want to get to the first part. He said, do you look to trade up for Michael Mayer if he's there around 40? And I know a lot of people in the chat are saying, do the Bengals trade up, Malik?
Let me explain something to you right now. I've never known the Bengals to be aggressive, but if this is going to be a time, I love nasty flips. In the
They're
comment
talking
section.
about how you
I
said
love
things,
nasty flips.
things
It's
of
my
that
dog,
nature.
man. But anyway, if I'm the Cincinnati Bengals, you 100% trade up. You 100% trade up. You want to talk about a Super Bowl window. This is a guy that wanted to be here in Cincinnati. This is a guy that's probably humiliated. He fell to the second round. He's the best overall tight end in the draft. The best overall tight end in the draft. If you want to be a true contender, you want to build, have a guy that can grow in that position for the future. You go out there and you trade up and you go get Michael Mayer. Hell, at this point, go get Washington. I don't mind Washington. I minded Washington at 28. I don't mind him in the second round. But you go up there tomorrow and you get a guy. You get a guy. You stop playing with the position. Teams that are competing for championships don't allow the board to fall to them, right? They go up there and they be aggressive. This is the Bengals Super Bowl window right now. You do everything in your power to maximize that. Being aggressive is going up there and trying to trade for a Michael Mayer. So yes, that's what the Bengals should do. The Bengals should 100% be aggressive tomorrow. And I would be pissed, and all Cincinnati, all Houday Nation should be pissed if they don't trade up tomorrow and grab a guy. Simple as that.
So Adam House is saying, with the board the way it was, who would you have picked?
I would have picked Michael. I mean, I would have picked Michael Mayer. I would have picked Michael Mayer or Joey Porter Jr., to be honest with you. Joey Porter Jr. was a tough guy to pass on, if you ask me. Tough. If you're not going to pick Michael Mayer, you make Joey Porter Jr. the pick there. I don't know why that guy fell. But guess what? Because what you just did is you just gifted Joey Porter Jr. to the Pittsburgh Steelers with the 33rd overall pick. That's what you did. That's what the rest of the teams did as well.
I completely agree. So we got somebody who's asking, who is your day 2 second round dream? Is it Darnell Washington?
Michael Mayer. You trade up tomorrow. You place phone calls tonight. You do not sleep if you're the Cincinnati Bengals. I don't care if you got to move Jonah Williams. You do something to move up and you go up there and grab the guy. You mean to tell me the best overall tight end in the draft? So let me just say that, because people might say, whoa, don't get Darnell. The best overall tight end in the draft fell to the second round. By the way, he's from here. By the way, he said he wanted to play for the Bengals. By the way, he grew up a Bengals fan. By the way, he solved the tight end position for the next 4 years. Come on, man.
If you guys are watching this, make sure you guys like and subscribe to this channel. We've got a lot of good content coming your way, and we've got a massive show for you guys tomorrow.
GK, you listen to me, man. And I hate to be that guy, but you comment on every single video. And when I respond to you, you never respond. And I make sure I always respond to you, my man. I always make sure I respond to you because I want to give you the time and the attention that you crave. You tell me how Michael Mayer, a tight end that literally was Notre Dame's offense, is average. A guy that you say sucks. Why was he everybody's consensus tight end 1? Why is everybody shocked that this guy fell to the second round? Since you know more than the draft experts and all of Houday Nation and all the Bengals fans, tell us. Please enlighten us. Daniel, continue. Because if he comments, please highlight his comment. Because every single time I challenge him, he never responds.
Our guy Michael Rolfe in the chat once again, he said, what would it take to get Mayer? What position do you think the Bengals would need to move up to?
Wait, say that again?
What would it take to get Michael Mayer? When you look at the second round, I know the Steelers had the first pick, then the Lions. What position would it take the Bengals to move up to get Mayer?
I have no idea, but I wouldn't chance it. I don't see Michael Mayer lasting the first 7 picks in the second round. Because guess what? If you don't do it, some team's going to jump up and get him.
Completely. We got people in the chat that are absolutely loving this. Somebody's asking, our guy, the Platypus, he said, do you think Jonah Williams can get an early second round pick because of the offensive tackle falling off the board?
The Bengals would have to swap. Or they would have to trade something, a valuable asset, maybe like a 3rd round pick and Jonah Williams and a future as well to get that. It would be expensive for sure.
Our guy Stamina saying, not going to lie, we are not upset. He's asking about Nolan Smith. What's your thoughts on, the Bengals passing up on Nolan Smith?
I think it's a scheme thing. With Nolan Smith. Honestly, listen, I mean, Myles Murphy was projected to be a top 15 pick, guys. He was early in the draft process. He was projected to be a top 15 pick. He was getting the treatment at the combine, and seeing him fall as far as he has, this is what happens, man. So the Bengals, I think the Bengals lucked out. They get a guy that is young, that hasn't reached his potential just yet. And Marion Hobby, people forget, Marion Hobby used to be the defensive line coach at Clemson. Marion Hobby has true ties to Clemson. So if they went out there and grabbed him, there's a reason why they went out there and grabbed him. And Marion Hobby has done great things for this defensive line. He's brought guys along pretty nicely. He's helped Sam Hubbard as well tremendously. So I trust them with this pick. I really do.
Trill Dill is asking, this is just a random one. He said, I guess Chase Young is out, right? What's your thoughts on Chase Young?
I love Chase Young. I'm a big Chase Young guy. I think the injuries have sucked for him. But I still think he's a hell of a player. I want to see him healthy. want to see him healthy, and I want to see him resume his career and play at a high level, man, because that guy's a freak when he is healthy, man. So, yeah, man, I hope that he's able to bounce back in a big way and prove those doubters wrong and make the Washington Commanders regret not picking up that 5th-year option. But yeah, I think Trey Young. I said Trey Young. I think Chase Young is going to be fantastic.
Our guy Ben Friedberg with another question. He said, "How far is too far to move up for Laporta or Washington? You know, sticking with the tight end position."
Um, yeah, I don't know if I'd move up for Laporta. I like him. I just don't know if I feel like I feel like at that point you have to just trust the board. And at that point, I like if I'm moving up for like I like Laporta, I'm moving up for mayor. I'd move up for Washington. But if I'm moving up for Laporta, at that point, I'm just trusting Irv Smith Jr. And I'm like, man, I'll draft Tucker Kraft at some point in the draft or something like that. Or Josh Wiley or something like that. I wouldn't. I would not. I don't know if I'd move up for Sam Laporta.
Yeah, I completely agree. Our guy Hattie said we need Charbonnet or I'm not even trying to say the last name, but what's your thoughts real quick? Bengals running back position. Do they go and get one tomorrow?
Tomorrow, I don't know if they go get one tomorrow. Possibly the following day. At this point, I think Joe Mixon's going to be the Bengals starting running back. I actually ran into Joe Mixon today. We had a great conversation. I'll keep that private, but we had a great conversation. You know, he's ready to start the season. He told me he's pretty pumped up for this year, upcoming year as well. So, we'll see. We'll see.
Alex Hall said Murphy, Osai, Hubbard, Hendrickson, third down pass rush is going to be elite in my
Filthy,
opinion.
man. You mean to tell me you could kick Murphy on the inside or Hubbard on the inside, how Hubbard does, and keep BJ Hill on the field and Osai too, man? It's going to be dangerous, man.
Everybody's saying that they trust Lou Anarumo. So when you look at Myles Murphy, what do you think Lou sees, you know, in Myles Murphy, what he's going to contribute this year, you know, and into the future?
I'll be honest with you. I didn't know if me and Lou thought the exact same way when it came to defensive ends. I love big defensive ends that are long, that are rangy. Like one of my favorite pass rushers growing up was Michael Johnson. Um, Michael Johnson was fantastic to me, and Myles Murphy reminds me a little bit of Michael Johnson a little bit, a guy that has a little bit of bend to him. He's athletic, that can swat passes down, that can rush the passer. Let me tell you my favorite thing that I like about Myles Murphy, and this is me trying to sell you guys on a pick, whether you guys love it or hate it pick. I understand completely, and you're right to feel however you feel. I love the fact that he's a high effort guy. I hate a pass rusher who has all the intangibles and all the tools, but they're just flat out lazy and they take plays off. I had an issue with a certain pass rusher here in Cincinnati. Um, but I'm not gonna say who that was, but they had all the tools to be a great pass rusher, but they took plays off. Myles Murphy is like the opposite. And I think Myles Murphy actually is a high effort guy. He's a guy that tries really hard and he's a guy that is coachable and he's a sponge and he gets better. So I'm excited.
Okay, Zach is saying, do you think edge was a more pressing need than cornerback or tight end?
Um, I think it could have been. I think for right now, for what the Bengals are trying to accomplish, right? They're trying to get a championship, right? I think that edge might have been considering who was on the board, right? I don't think that if Myles Murphy was on the board, I don't think they would have reached necessarily. But with them being on the board, it was easily a no-brainer.
We're going to Massey Flips. We got to get a question in
Mhm.
from him. He said he's going to Will Levis. I know Will Levis was never going top 2, but why did he fall so far? I mean, he didn't even get drafted in the first round.
I just don't think he's good, to be honest with you guys. I don't think he's good. And it's a quarterback driven league and they try to push these guys so far. I even think he might slide even more. I think Hendon Hooker might go before him, honestly, at this point. Um, but I think that's what it comes down to. And it sucks because you never know. A guy's situation could have been different in college and things of that nature. Um, it's one of those things where, I'm rooting for the kid, man. I want to see that kid do well, man. I want out because that's a little bit humiliating seeing him in the draft room and just sitting there waiting for your name to get called and you don't get called, especially after he told all his friends, "Hey, I'm gonna be drafted early," and you think you're gonna get drafted early, and if the board fell a certain way, maybe it could have been it really is just it takes one draft pick to rock everything off, man. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that, like, I think Will Levis probably thought he was gonna be a Colt. A lot of people thought he was going to be a Colt. That's why you saw him in so many mock drafts today. Final mock drafts. Will Levis is a Colt. CJ, or whatever I'm sorry. The people thought CJ. Well, once it came out that CJ Stroud was going to the Texans, everybody thought, okay, it was a no brainer. Will Levis is going to the Colts. And when that didn't happen, the Colts shocked everybody and drafted Anthony Richardson. That was a holy hell. That was a smoke screen of the year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Going over to our guy Noah Klein, he said, "What DBs are in the mix, for the Bengals in round 2?" I know that a couple guys like Joey Porter fell. Is there any in particular that you think are for the Bengals potentially?
I think it's all about how the board falls. I really think the Bengals are going to draft best player available. I think the Myles Murphy pick was them drafting best player available, and regardless of what we think, Myles Murphy truly, in a lot of people's boards, was a overall better player than Michael Mayer, and than a lot of these guys on the board. Now, him over Joey Porter Jr. That's tough for me, but I get it. I get it.
Yeah, so I want to go to that. People are saying Joey Porter was there, man. Come on, like, what was your thoughts? We were sitting in the car together, and we were saying it's Mayer or Porter. What was your thoughts? That they didn't take Porter.
You said who said it was Mayer or Porter? I never said it.
No,
Oh,
yeah, you didn't
yeah,
say that. I said that.
yeah.
So
Okay.
not you. Just
So
clarify.
so what did you say?
What was your thoughts on Joey Porter? Them not taking him?
I thought Joey Porter Jr. would have been a fantastic pick. I thought Joey Porter Jr. would have been a fantastic pick. I think that guy is going to be an absolute freak, and he's going to do great for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Chris Hall said Marion Hobby is a Clemson guy, isn't he? Old Clemson
Yep.
D-line coach.
Yep.
So maybe that, is a connection with Myles
Absolutely.
Murphy. Our guy Noah Klein said once
he
again,
never coached him. But I'm sure he has ties still at the University of Clemson. That's why he was able to get intel on this kid.
Noah said tight end or cornerback. What do you think is more important for the Bengals in round 2?
Tight end. I do. I think the Bengals need to get the tight end. I think if the right tight end's there, I think Michael Mayer. They need to be aggressive to get Michael Mayer. They need to.
We got a good question here from Connor. He's saying, out of the entire first round, who is your favorite and least favorite picks? Not just the Bengals, but in the entire first round, who's your favorite?
My least favorite pick was the Lions, Jahmyr Gibbs. I thought that was a holy hell of a reach. Yeah, that shocked me. Will McDonald was a reach by the Jets too. I'm trying to think what else. I love the Nolan Smith pick for the Eagles. I love the Jalen Carter pick for the Eagles. I tweeted it out there, the Philadelphia Bulldogs. But yeah, the Lions. What's the GM's name? Brad
Holmes.
Brad Holmes. Brad Holmes will be fired in 3 years if this does not work out.
I agree. So, do you think this is going to Cam Smith? Do you think Cam Smith is a possibility in round 3? Zach is saying
round 3.
That's what
I don't know if he falls to round 3. I don't think he falls to round 3.
Our guy Reggie's talking about, he said the Eagles had the best draft overall. What was your thoughts on the Eagles draft? I know that, they got Carter, they got some studs on their team in the draft. What was your thoughts on the Eagles?
I thought the Eagles had a fantastic. I thought the Eagles had a fantastic draft, honestly. And yeah.
So when you're looking at, the overall board for round 2, who are some of the guys that, you're really, really staring at for the Bengals besides Michael Mayer?
Michael Mayer. Darnell Washington. I mean, I don't Joey Porter Jr. won't be there, so that's not even. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers is going to hold on to that pick for dear life. You'd have to trade your firstborn in and then some for the Pittsburgh Steelers to move out of that pick. Who else would I like? DeJuan Jones would be a guy I would consider there. Osiris didn't go, did he?
I don't think so. No.
Wow. This draft was literally insane. Osiris is still sitting out there?
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it. I don't get this draft. This is I mean this, and I'm not being dramatic. This is the wildest draft that I've ever seen, guys. The wildest draft. Listen, I'm gonna tell you guys something. I share a similar source for Ian, Mike Garafolo, and Tom Pelissero. And I could tell you right now, an hour leading up to the draft, they didn't even know what was happening. That's how insane this draft is. That's how insane this draft was. So for me, I mean, Jalen Hyatt is still sitting out there. I mean, this draft is crazy to me. I didn't have Will McDonald going top 15. or 16, whatever it was. I didn't have that. I don't know. This draft is crazy. I mean, you mean to tell me Emmanuel Forbes falls, like where he fell to, and then the cornerback Deontay Banks falls. I mean, it's just this draft is wild, man.
So we've got some potential options for the Bengals at 60. People are asking DeJuan Jones, Cam Smith, or Sam Laporta at 60 from our guy JC Kirk.
If it were up to me, if you guys watched the State of Jungle War Room edition, I'm not waiting to 60. If I'm the Bengals, I'm trading up tomorrow. I don't even want to hear them say, hey, you know what? We're going to stay pat at 60. But no, I'm the Bengals. That's their MO. They're probably going to stay pat at 60. And it's disgusting, honestly. But if you want to move up, you move up, man. You go out there and just place a phone call. They won't even. That's the issue. They won't even place a phone call. I mean, but yeah, I don't know.
Alex Hall, another scenario. He said Clark Phillips, DeJuan Jones, Darnell Washington, or Zach Charbonnet at 60.
The Bengals traded up. You know what? The Bengals traded up last year for Cam Taylor-Britt. If you're willing to trade up for Cam Taylor-Britt, why wouldn't you trade up for Michael Mayer? A guy that will contribute this year. Guy that would solidify your tight end position for the next few years on a rookie contract. Also cheaper because he's a second-round pick. Yeah. So maybe they do trade up. Maybe they do trade up in the second round like they did last year. Maybe they do. If I was them, I certainly would. But the Bengals, you know what the Bengals do, right? The Bengals will sit back. They want to sit back. They'll sit back, and then they'll wait for like a couple 10 picks. P. Crawley, I appreciate you, man. You're always in the comment section being negative. I appreciate you, my man. Always can count on you. You should get some sleep.
Our guy Keith said War Room draft yesterday was perfect. The Bengals need to be as aggressive as that was. So, yeah, I just wanted to get your thoughts on what they said.
What? On what? What about it?
Thoughts on? I mean, he was supporting the War Room from yesterday.
Oh, I appreciate that, my man. Sorry, it's pretty late.
Yeah.
Daniel didn't ask the question; he just said something. But no, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate you guys supporting. Tomorrow's inaugural First Star Logistics Bengals draft party is going to be fantastic. So I'm looking forward to it.
And this goes with the theme from Yawn Face. He said, "I'd rather trade up for Julius Brents." What's your thoughts on Julius?
Hey, Julius Brent's a good pick too. But I'm sorry. Yeah.
Corey wants to get your thoughts. The Bills moved up one spot to get their guy. What's your thoughts on Dalton Kincaid to the Bills?
That's a weird pick to me. I just would think that they would want to, like, their issue is Josh Allen was getting pressured so much. Their offensive line is not good. And you would just think that if a guy like Cyrus Terrence is there, they would probably go up there and try to get better. I don't know. But I don't know. What the Bills do is what the Bills do. Like the Bills say, we never want to be in a position as bad as we never want to be in a position so bad to where we're in the position to draft the Jamar Chase like the Bengals. Buddy, you guys just took Dalton Kincaid with your pick when you could have helped your offense and helped your quarterback and actually got him some pass blockers. So, way to go, Brandon Bean.
Our guy Michael Rolfe said, Malik, what time does the stream start tomorrow for the party? Tell the people a little bit about the stream that we got going on tomorrow.
For sure, man. It starts at 7 p.m. It'll be literally like your draft coverage that you watch on NFL Network, ESPN, but it's strictly dedicated to the Cincinnati Bengals. Logan Wilson will be there tomorrow. Got an interview. Me and Dave Lapham will be interviewing him. Really, really pumped up about it, man. I'm really just excited to see all y'all there. And even for the people that aren't going to be in attendance, I'm excited to see you guys watch it and interact. This is really for the people that won't be in attendance, honestly. We're just excited to bring you nonstop Bengals coverage for the 4.5 hours that will be live there and going over all the Bengals potential options, the Bengals first round draft picks, and talking about players that we love.
So if you guys are in the chat, make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel where you're going to be live tomorrow at 7 p.m. Make sure you guys like this video. We drove up to the studio to answer your guys' questions, and I'm going to go to our guy, JC Kirk again. He's asking a Jonah Williams potential trade. Jonah and 60 to the Colts for 35 and Michael Mayer. Who says no?
You might be on to something, JC. And JC's my man. He's always in here, man, supporting. I appreciate you, brother. They need a left tackle, don't they? They need left, don't they, Daniel?
Pretty sure I'll
Yeah,
check on that.
they do, right?
Yeah.
I think they do need a left tackle. I think that would make sense.
So we've got some people who are asking about Myles Murphy really quickly. What type of impact do you think Myles Murphy is going to make on the Bengals this year in particular?
I think Myles Murphy is gonna be allowed to grow, gradually, into the Bengals. I think he's gonna obviously, I think they definitely, I definitely think I don't think he'll be a starter, but I think he'll be heavily involved in the rotation, especially on pass rushing situations.
Our guy DJ is asking about Osiris Torrance. He said, Malik, if most of the guys are off the board at 60, but Osiris Torrance is still there, do you take him?
Oh, yeah, you draft best player available, 100%.
When you're looking at, this entire draft, Malik, what were some of the biggest surprises that you saw from round one so far?
Man, I saw a lot, man. I mean, honestly, this was the most entertaining draft I've ever seen. So just so you guys know, initially how and what everybody was being told in back channels was it was supposed to be Bryce Young, Tyree Wilson at 2, 3 was supposed to be Paris Johnson to the Cardinals, 4 was supposed to be CJ Stroud to the Colts, 5 was supposed to be Jalen Carter to the Seahawks, 6 was supposed to be Devon Witherspoon. That's what everybody was told. None of that happened the way people thought it would be, and these teams really threw people for a loop. So seeing Anthony Richardson go to the Colts was shocking. Seeing, seeing I knew the Cardinals coveted Paris Johnson, so him going there, I was shocked when they traded out of the pick, right? Because I know that the Raiders also liked him and things of that nature. Oh, I said it.
You
Things of that
said it
nature.
again.
But that so yeah, that was pretty shocking to see the Texans trade up twice. That was pretty shocking as well, man. Way to be aggressive, man. Way to go get a guy. Listen, if you like it reminds me what the Giants did last year. Remember when they went up there and got Evan Neal, and then they got Kayvon
Kayvon.
Thibodeau? So
Yep.
like that was cool, man. That was cool to see. Yeah, I agree, Andrew, man. 4 wide receivers in a row was definitely wild as well, man. So yeah, just seeing how aggressive these teams were. Usually, teams sit pat and they just let it all come to them. But nah, man, they were aggressive, and that was pretty cool to see.
Our guy Kenny McFarland said, do you think the Steelers are going to go Porter Jr. or Osiris Torrance tomorrow?
I think the Steelers go Joey Porter Jr. It just makes too much sense. It makes too much sense. And I know that's a guy that they liked uh in the draft at their spot, and then they had the opportunity to go get Roger Jones, and they did. And now they got the help that they needed for Kenny interception Pickett. And now they're able to get the guy that they kind of wanted all along, and Joey Porter Jr. So it makes a lot of sense.
John Davids makes a good point. He said Murphy was also a team captain. Leadership is huge here with the Bengals.
Yeah, I think Myles Murphy's gonna be a great pick, guys. He's a guy that I didn't expect to be early, especially early in the draft process, man. He was being talked about top 15 pick. Then you know how the draft works. People move up, people move down. Uh, I think that I think he's a good pick, man. I think we should all be happy. Houday Nation, we should be celebrating right now, regardless. We saw Joey Porter Jr. sitting there. We saw Michael Mayer sitting there, but this was a damn good pick for the Bengals, man. And don't let anybody try to tell you that it was a horrible pick. It wasn't a horrible pick. They needed some juice on the defensive line. They did. They did.
Dakota's asking, Malik, what's your take on a veteran running back like Lenny or Clyde Edwards-Helaire with the Bengals running back situation?
I'm good off of Leonard Fournette. I'm good off. I don't think we need that. I think you need a change of pace back. I think you need somebody else a little bit different. I think you need a guy that's could be a scat back, almost like your GOS type. Like a Jahmyr Gibbs would be nice, right? But not at 12.
Alex Hall actually has a very, very good question. He said, teams and GM's boards always seem to have a disconnect to popular internet boards.
Mhm.
Why do you think the disconnect is there? And what patterns do you think that the general public can study from, the disconnect?
I think that's a great question, Alex. So, Alex, I'm answering that in 2 parts. And the first point I'm going to answer that is teams put those stuff out there sometimes. Like, just so you know, a lot of teams, a lot of like GMs, stuff like that, they have their quote unquote media guys they go to like put things out in their rumor mill. You have agents who have agendas who are trying to help their guys' draft stock go up. So they put things out there as well. It was like when that Reddit post came out and it was like, oh, Will Levis is going to be the first overall pick. And then, all of a sudden, the draft odds shoot up. Just so you guys know as well, betting odds, how it works. I was getting this question a lot too. That's not coming from any inside information. It's like if when CJ Stroud went on a visit with the Carolina Panthers, and everybody was saying the Carolina Panthers are going to draft CJ Stroud, the entire media ran with it, and then you saw the odds change to CJ Stroud being the favorite to go first overall, and Bryce Young was a plus 350 favorite. It took people that were in the know, whether that be at the combine, NFL circles, to come out and say, no, Bryce Young is still the first overall quarterback, like I said weeks prior. Then it comes down. It's not that Vegas has any inside information. It's not like how, like, if they know a player is going to be injured before a game, and then you see all of a sudden you see the odds change or something like that. It really goes off of whatever the popular thing is. That's what really how the draft works, and how it's like sort of like a crapshoot sometimes. Like, it's not based off of an inside information. It's a lot goes into the whole draft process. You got people throwing up smoke screens. You got agents trying to put clients up. You got media people, trying to fan flames and things of that nature. I don't really think it's something to really figure out. This has been going on for decades and years. It'll always happen that way. You just have to sometimes sift through the BS, if you will.
We got a question, and I'm gonna go. Zach, he's asking about the defensive backs. When do you see the Bengals going with the defensive back?
I mean, I think the Bengals can go either, day 2, day 3. I don't think that's, I think that they're very comfortable with their cornerback room. Maybe that's to a fault, but they did add a guy like Sidney Jones. They have high hopes for Sidney Jones. They like Cam Taylor-Britt. They're expecting Cheetah Awuzie to be able to play this season and play at a high level this season. So these are not guys that they necessarily have given up on. So I think that, again, a very similar to like a draft. I think that we may see it as a little bit more dire than what they see it as.
Reggie asked, ask yourself, why didn't Mayer go in the first round before you get all up in arms? I don't think he's talking about you, but why do you think Michael Mayer did fall out of the first round?
That's a good question. That's a good question. I have no idea. I have no idea. I think that there were select teams that needed a tight end that would have drafted a tight end in the first round, and all it took was that one team passing on said player. Or, I mean, the draft fell so weird. Listen, in a perfect world, Michael Mayer would have been drafted in the first round, right? Michael Mayer would have been the first tight end drafted, but who could have predicted Christian Gonzalez would have fell and all these different prop players would have fell in the draft? It's one of those things where it's hard to predict. This draft, literally, people fall down draft boards and things of that nature. That's really what the that's really what makes this thing kind of wonky and kind of weird, man. It really comes down to uh who falls, who falls, and how teams value certain players. But I certainly think that had the draft went the way people had assumed it would, Michael Mayer will be a first round pick, and this would be a forgotten. This will be we'll probably be talking about Dalton Kincaid being a second round pick or something like that. But the board falls the way it does.
Okay, Draco said, Draco, that's funny. He said Josh Weil is going to be better than Dalton Kincaid. What's your thoughts on, Cincinnati's Josh Weil?
I like him. I like him. I listen. Okay. So now that the draft is over, I can kind of be kind of real with you guys because you don't ever want to crap on picks and people like this guy, people like that. I wasn't really a big Dalton Kincaid guy. I watched this tape and the guy just seems like every contested catch, be hurt, he'd be hurt, he'd be hurt, be injured. He had to come in and went back injuries, so I didn't really love the pick for the Bills. But more power to them. I was kind of happy when he went off the board, honestly, because I didn't even want us to consider here, and I know the Bengals really liked him. So
Okay, Massey Flips put in a nice message for you. He said, "Yo, Malik, you obviously don't need me to tell you this, but thanks for all the work and dedication you put forth for us."
appreciate you, man. I appreciate you being in here almost each and every single week, brother. Commenting with us and interacting with us, man, and having some fun. Even though sometimes you guys make fun of my forehead.
Our guy Matt, that was funny. He said, "What do you think about Zay Flowers to the Ravens? They took a
That was
receiver."
interesting. I thought the Ravens were gonna go cornerback. I thought they were gonna go cornerback. The Ravens shocked me. But, they got their quarterback, and now it's time to, I guess it's time to build around him. So
People are asking about, where do you think the Bengals go tomorrow? Offense, defense? You think they double dip on offense?
Um, I think they can go offense tomorrow. I think that they should go offense tomorrow. You guys, I'm not going to say it. You guys know what I want them to do. We'll see if they do, though.
Got a couple more questions for you. Our guy Maddie
Sure.
said, Devin Akane. How far do you think that he's going to fall in
I'll
the
be honest, with you, I
draft?
don't like Devin again. I don't like him. I don't like him. But I do think he can go late second round, early third.
Pedro's back in the chat. He said, Malik, what will the Bengals do knowing the three tight ends on the roster are all on 1-year deals? Do they trade up?
I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I have no idea what they're gonna do. But if I was them, I'd play some phone calls tomorrow. If I was Duke Tobin, I wouldn't leave Paycor Stadium tonight. I'd play some phone calls. I'd call with some teams to see if I can move up.
Matthew Scott said, fans may not like it, but the Murphy pick was the better pick at this point,
Yeah.
knowing we were, bottom 5 in sacks and the depth of the tight end position.
Yes.
What's your thoughts, just on the defensive line depth as a whole right now?
You feel so much better about the defensive line depth right now. And I think the cool thing about Murphy is that Murphy can get kicked inside and he can play outside. So you kind of kill two birds with one stone.
Bengals for life is talking about Darnell Washington. Do you think the Bengals take a shot at Darnell if he falls or regardless?
Yeah, I think the Bengals would draft him if he fell in the second round. I never thought the Bengals would take him at 28.
We're going to go to back-to-back questions from the Platypus here. He said, Christian Gonzalez to the Patriots. What was your thoughts on, him falling that far to the Patriots?
I think he's a little overrated, personally. I think he's good, but I think he's overrated. I don't like Pac-12 corners, honestly. But again, if anybody can get the most out of him, it's Bill. So they must see something in him that I don't.
And his other question is, what happens if Lou leaves after this year, assuming that this was, one of his picks?
Like in terms of what
I guess he's saying if this was, Murphy's pick, what happens if,
I think this was a collective decision. I don't think anything happens like sometimes like people leave teams all the time. You know what I mean? That's like Jalen Davis. That's his name, Jalen Davis, right? The Eagles defensive tackle.
Jordan
Davis. He was drafted by what's the head coach, John Gannon.
Yeah.
And nothing
Sirianni?
Happens. Huh?
Or no.
He was drafted. Gannon was the defense coordinator. He was drafted by him. Nothing happens though.
Davis Martin saying, how do you think Joe Burrow feels that the Bengals pass up on a mayor?
I have no idea how he feels, but if I was Joe Burrow, I would say, go get me my fucking tight end tomorrow. That's what I would say.
Blake Flynn said, Malik just joined, but what was your overall thoughts on the pick? And what's your thoughts on the Georgia Eagles?
So the Georgia Eagles, I like
He
that.
also said, thanks for all the great content and persistence.
Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. I thought that the Georgia Eagles was a great pick for them. And they're gonna have a hell of a defensive line with Fletcher Cox back in the middle. In terms of what was the other one? Thoughts on the overall thoughts on pick. I thought that Myles Murphy was a good pick. I understand the uproar, but it was a good pick.
Andrew Fox Miller said, you get to ask.
That's my guy. That's James Rapin's producer. You do a great job, brother, man. You do a great job.
He said, you get to ask Duke Tobin one question after the first round. No future rounds projection questions. What's the top question you ask him about tonight's draft?
What the hell were you thinking? I'm kidding. The top question I would say is, are you planning to be aggressive in the second round to go up and get a tight end, especially knowing that Michael Mayer, Darnell Washington, are all sitting there.
Bengals for life asked about Irv Smith Jr. What's your thoughts, overall on him this year?
I like Irv Smith Jr. I can't say too much. His father follows me, but I like him. He's a good athlete.
DJ said, hey, Malik, I want to know how you felt this year with the Bengals taking Murphy compared to last year with them taking Dax Hill. Are you happier today or last year? Love hearing you talk ball by the way.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. I was a little sad last year because I knew that was the end of Jesse Bates. This year, I feel like this was a great pick. I think they needed to add to the defensive line. And I just knew that it had been slim pickings. And you feel like you're reaching at that point, in the second round for a guy. Unless you get like an Isaiah Foskey or something like that. But even then, Myles Murphy is much better than him. So I like this pick. I think it makes sense for a lot of reasons, and there's still a plethora. Listen, this is a deep tight end class too, so there's still a plethora of tight ends to choose from as well.
If you guys are watching this, make sure you guys like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We have a huge show tomorrow, but make sure you guys like this video. We
Yeah, please,
appreciate it.
please, if you guys can do us a favor, give this video a like and subscribe to YouTube channel. Turn on post notifications so you guys don't miss when we go live too.
Ken Snyder
Mhm.
said, Malik, what's your nightmare scenario for the Bengals at pick 60?
If the Bengals stay pat and they say, you know what, we're going to draft Matthew Bergeron from Syracuse, I would hate that. Or if the Bengals said, you know what, we're going to stay pat and we're going to, I don't know, um, draft somebody that we've just never heard of before. And we're just all like dumbfounded looking at each other. You know, we've been there before, Drew Sample. I think that would kind of throw me for a loop a little bit if they, if they just go out there and they just make a boneheaded decision and they aren't aggressive. One thing that I just don't like is if like there's a position of need and you're like 5 picks away and they just like, we'll be all right. It's like they did that a couple times. Like when I found out the Bengals were going to draft Jax Kerman in the second round, and then what's the kid's name from the Bears, the offensive tackle? Tevin Jenkins was staring them in the face. Now I know obviously hindsight is 2020. Has dealt with some injuries, but they're like, I'm gonna stay pat. And then you're like, yes, the guy that we wanted falls right to us. And then you say, yeah, we're gonna take Jackson Carmen. Yeah, that stuff like that would be like make me think a little bit.
I've got 3 more questions for you, and then we can, get you to bed before your big day tomorrow.
Mhm.
David said, "What do you think about the Bengals taking a slot receiver in the second round?"
Second round, a little too early for me. A little too early for me.
Bengals for Life said, "What's your thoughts on Tucker Craft?"
I like Tucker Craft a lot. I think he's underrated too. Marissa loves him. Marissa loves him.
And the final question we're gonna go to is Kayshon Boutte. What's your thoughts on Kayshon Boutte, the LSU wide receiver?
Character concerns. So I'm concerned. So I wouldn't touch him. I don't know if I'd touch him. I mean, maybe you can, maybe like in the third or fourth, maybe, but I wouldn't touch him before that because the guy's really talented.
I do want to get your thoughts real quick.
Yeah.
Will McDonald. Someone said, wish Will McDonald would have came down to us at 28. What was your thoughts of him being drafted that high?
Oh yeah, no. 28. Yeah, I wouldn't even have touched him at 28. I don't think, but I think I mean, what's funny to me? He's very similar to Carl Lawson. It's very similar to Carl Lawson, and
I can see that.
yeah, I know they. I mean, they're literally very similar together. Very similar players, and yeah, I don't know. I wonder how that's going to work out for them. You guys have any more questions? If you guys don't have any more questions, we're gonna head out. But please, you guys do us a huge favor. Give this video a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, turn on post notifications so you don't miss when we go live for the First Star Logistics annual and inaugural annual Bengals draft party taking place live tomorrow at 7 p.m. from the Great American Ballpark, the Handlebar. It's going to be so many guests in attendance. Can't wait to talk with all you guys. Nonstop Bengals coverage. I'm pretty excited about that.
Michael asked if you guys are we getting a police escort from our place of First Star Logistics for these reaction shows?
Oh man, we should, shouldn't we? We should, man. Should I run for mayor of Cincinnati or something like that? Maybe that's what I got to do in order to get like a little police escort or something like that. I don't know.
Malik for mayor.
Malik for mayor, man. Hey, listen.
For mayor. Oh, too soon.
Listen, too soon. But anyway, I appreciate you guys' support. Oh, my guy, All In J, he commented. He said, "So you preferred Murphy over McDonald?" Yes, I did. Murphy's a good player. Guys. Don't read too much into the hype of, oh, we're upset. You'd at least keep your mouth shut during the AFC Championship. LOL. Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't call Joe Burrow Patrick Mahomes' father. I wouldn't do that. So anyway, that's all the time we got, you guys. I appreciate you guys so much for chopping it up with us, at almost 1:00 in the morning. Appreciate y'all so much. We jetted right over here from the airport. So hope that you guys have a great night. It's going to be an awesome night too for the Bengals. Let's hope the Bengals get aggressive. Let's hope that they elect a new mayor and Michael Mayer. Let's hope that you see what I tried to do. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, Appreciate you guys. See you guys tomorrow for the inaugural First Star Logistics inaugural annual Bengals draft party taking place at the Handlebar, Great American Ballpark. Appreciate you guys so much. Andrew, keep up the great work editing, my man. It was great talking with you. We gotta catch a drink sometime or something together, man. But appreciate you guys so much. You guys have a great night. Who day?